Good evening, everyone. Welcome to the Federal Energy Regulatory Commission, or the FERC for short, scoping meeting for the Lower Mousam Hydroelectric Project. That's project number 14856. My name is Michael Watts, and I'm an engineer at the FERC. I'll also be serving as the project coordinator for the project. With me from the FERC are two additional staff members. And at this time, I'll have them introduce themselves and say what their duties are at the FERC.
Thank you, Mike. I'm Nick Tackett, branch chief for the New England region, and I appreciate each and every one of you being here. I know that this project is part of your community, and I appreciate the opportunity to hear from you today. We are here for NEPA scoping, Environmental Policy Act scoping on the environmental issues. So I hope to have full discussion on those issues. As you see, we'll have the list of all the resource issues and everything from cultural to terrestrial, etc., of the different things going on, how this project could impact the environment. So that's what we're hoping to discuss today. And just wanted to thank you for your past participation with Kennebunk Light and Power, and being able to provide information to them. And just wanted to mention that as currently licensed, the project is under 5362 as far as the docketing goes with our agency. And going forward, we have established a new process under, sorry for all the numbers, but 14856. And so this is sort of a new record that we're establishing under this, and I just encourage you that, also thanks for participating previously, but encourage you to offer your information as if it is a new proceeding to build the record. That's what we're hoping to do tonight, is to be able to establish the issues as you see them, getting information from you as people who know this project well. We have what's in the record, and that is it. So we're hoping to build the record as much as possible. So thank you again for coming, taking your time.
Good evening. My name is Steve Cartalia. I'm a fisheries biologist, and I work in the same branch as Michael and Nick. So I'll be looking at issues related to fisheries, like fish habitat, fish passage, water quality, stream flow, those sorts of issues. Thanks.
Thanks to you both. We also have terrestrial resource specialist, Amy Chang, and recreational and land use specialist, Erin Kimsey. Unfortunately, they're not here with us today, but I can assure you that they'll be actively participating through the rest of the licensing process. So a few housekeeping items before we get started, just like we did earlier. Please make sure you sign in again. Once again, there are two sign-in sheets. One is a general sign-in sheet, and then the other one is for those of you who are wishing to give verbal comments at today's meeting. If you're planning to give verbal comments, we do have a court reporter with us. We'll be making a transcript of today's meeting. And while we generally like to keep things as informal and free-flowing as possible, the only formality that we require is that you state your name and affiliation before speaking, so your comments can be attributed to you in today's transcript. We also have handouts. There's copies of our scoping document, as well as a couple licensing brochures to help educate you about the FERC process. Feel free to take a copy of each of those for reference. Here's the outline for tonight's meeting, so you know what to expect. We'll start off by talking a little bit about FERC. We'll then review the licensing process. The current licensee, Kennebunk Light and Power, will then give an overview of the project facilities and operations, followed by the potential applicant, America First, who will be given an overview of the proposal for the project. We'll then discuss the scoping document, in particular those issues that we've identified to analyze in our NEPA document. Then we'll go over next steps, and then we'll talk about how you can stay involved in the process. FERC is an independent agency under the Department of Energy, and in addition to regulating natural gas and hydropower projects, we also regulate the interstate transmission of natural gas, oil, and electricity. At the top of the organization, FERC consists of 5 commissioners, including a chairman that's appointed by the President and confirmed by the U.S. Senate. The Office of Hydropower Projects, where we are from, is about 20% of the total FERC staff. And the hydro licensing program includes 3 separate divisions. There is a dam safety division, which is responsible for making sure that our structures are safe and for overseeing new construction. There is a Department of License Administration and Compliance, which is responsible for making sure that our licensee complies with the terms and conditions of their license. And there is a licensing division, which that's where we're from, and we're responsible for reviewing new license and relicense application. Drilling down further into the organization, the licensing department is spread out across 5 different branches that cover different areas of the country. We're from the New England branch, and we cover hydro projects that are within the New England states, obviously including the state of Maine. Our authority to regulate hydropower projects comes from the Federal Power Act, and projects under jurisdiction or either located in navigable waters, affect interstate or foreign commerce, located in public or federal lands, or they use surplus water from a federal dam. We issue licenses between 30 and 50 years, using 3 licensing process. There's an integrated licensing process, which is our default process, or ILP, as it's known. There's a traditional licensing process, or TLP, and there's an alternative licensing process, otherwise known as the ALP. You do have to get permission to use either the traditional or the alternative licensing process, and that decision is made on a case-by-case basis. Major difference between the integrated licensing process and the traditional licensing process is that integrated licensing process includes early FERC involvement, and that's why we're here so early in the process. But it also includes a rigid timeline and process plan, and that plan can be found in the back of your scoping document in Appendix B. The integrated licensing process includes a pre-filing portion and a post-filing portion. Pre-filing is initiated with the filing of a pre-application document. That document was filed by November 1st, back in September. We're currently in the scoping phase of the project, and over the next several months, we all as a group will be working together to develop a study plan. Once those study plans are completed, potential applicant, America First, will use the study plan to implement the studies and use the information from the studies to develop its license application. Once the license application is filed and the studies are completed, that will complete the pre-filing process and put us in the post-filing process, which is initiated by the filing of the license application. Once that's filed, FERC staff such as myself and others will review the license application for completeness, and if it's adequate, we'll issue a ready for environmental assessment notice. This notice, or otherwise known as a REA notice, This notice will solicit comments from stakeholders, prescriptions, terms and conditions. FERC staff will then take all the information from the record, including the studies, the license application, and the comments, and use that to develop and issue its NEPA document. Once the NEPA document is issued, we're followed by a comment period for all the stakeholders to take a look and make comments. And then the license application, including all the information in the record, will be ready for a commission licensing decision. As you can see, pre-filing can take anywhere from 1 to 3 years, while post-filing takes approximately a year and a half. So the goal of the initial document that was filed by America First, the potential applicant, is to bring together all existing, relevant, and reasonable available information, provide the basis for identifying issues, data gaps, and study needs, and it pretty much sets the schedule, being that is the first document to be filed. All the other documents kind of tear off that first date. And then, in a general sense, it sets the foundation for all the future documents, including scoping document that we issued, or NEPA document to be issued, and ultimately the license order. The goal of the scoping process is to solicit your input and the issues that we've identified in the scoping document. Pretty much, we want to see if we got that list right, or if there's some other issues that is needed to be added to the list. We also identified the issues associated with the proposed project, discuss existing conditions or the potential effects of the project and resources. We also discuss cumulative effects, make sure there's an adequate geographic scope for the project, as well as proposed alternatives. The goal of the study plan is to set the foundation for which pertinent information can be gathered to address the issues identified during the scoping process. And finally, the goal of the studies themselves is to gather the relevant information needed to develop adequate license application. That ends the first half of my talk, and at this point, I'll have a member from Kennebunk Light and Power give us an overview of the project facilities and operation. And he also says he has a joke too, so looking forward to that.
Okay. Good evening. My name is Jonathan Kilbourne. You can call me Jay. I warned you, Bill.
Can you spell it, please?
JONATHAN KILBOURN. I'm filling in for our general manager, Todd Shea, this evening. He's over at one of the events at the school with his children. I'm the president of the Kennebunk Light and Power District, and so I'll be filling in for him tonight. We'll go over just a few of these slides. Oh, I see I can't do my quiz. I see so many of you who were here this afternoon. I was going to quiz you on which dam was which slide, but I see it's on the first slide, so never mind the joke. So a little bit of background. We have three dams that KLPD owns, and the associated hydropower facilities with them. They're all located in Kennebunk, and they're on the river. The first being the Kesslen Dam down on Main Street, and working your way up the Twine Mill and the Dane Perkins Dam. Slide. Do I do that? Oh, there we go. So the first dam downstream, the last dam in the river, is the Kesslen Dam, the most downstream of the 11 dams. And it's been in place since the 1800s to provide initially water power and then later electricity. It has the impoundment has a surface area of 20 to 25 acres, and its power rating, its nameplate rating is 150 kilowatts. That's a rate of power, and it produces 2,400 volt electricity, three-phase power at 60 hertz. The next dam up the river is the Twine Mill Dam. It's located about 2 linear miles upstream of the Kesslen Dam. And that's about 3.5 miles as the river flows. The original dam was breached in 1960, and it's been reconstructed since then. Its impoundment has a surface area of about 12 acres, and its nameplate capacity is 300 kilowatts. So if you were to run a 300 kilowatt dam for an hour, that would be 300 kilowatt hours. It produces 480 volt three-phase power at a frequency of 60 hertz also. And the third dam is the Dane Perkins Dam, the last one upstream that's owned by KLPD, followed by how many more dams after that? No? Thank you very much. Someone's listening. You win the first dam. Dane Perkins is located approximately 0.5 linear miles upstream, and it was originally breached. The original dam was breached in 1977, reconstructed also in 80 to 81, and its impoundment surface area is about 25 acres. Nameplate capacity on this dam, so the Kesslen is 150 kilowatts, making for a total of how many kilowatts? 600. Thank you very much. Good. And 2,400 volt three-phase power, also at 60 hertz. Do I have another slide? No. So that's the overview of the facilities that are included in this licensing process. Thank you.
Next up, we'll have America First, who will be given an overview of their proposal for the project.
Thank you. I was going to come up with a joke tonight too, but I couldn't come up with anything that was damn funny, so here I am. There we go. All right. Ian Clark, America First, IANCLARK, America First. So America First is a special purpose LLC created to take over and assess the KLPD projects, potentially for relicensing. Managing members are Ian Clark and Paul Nolan. We both have experience within hydro. Paul Nolan has extensive experience within the relicensing, working through various utility stages and understanding how that all compresses together. I have operational experience. We own 3 projects within New Hampshire. I guess next 2 slides. Yes. So I have operational experience. We own 3 hydroelectric projects within New Hampshire where we are working through various aspects of licensing, for compliance, the whole 9 yards. We have to make sure that they are up to date. We have to make sure that they are running well. We have to make sure that they are producing power. Our interest within the Kennebunk hydro facilities is that there's a widespread support overall from the governor's office down to the town of Kennebunk, I should say. There are also obviously significant environmental interests. We have to understand the fish passage, water quality, aesthetics, recreation, and dam removal. Overall, we want to work with the stakeholders in a collaborative effort to understand what needs to happen and how we can push these dams forward to ultimately take them into the next 20, 30, 40 years or whatever it may be. We want to ultimately ensure that the relicensing process is based on facts. How can we do this not on an emotion-based projective, but how can we work through this on facts, science, and ultimately numbers and make sure everything is set to a very good overall tone. On November 29th, America First filed a scoping document. The scoping document requested a couple of things. We first requested that the 5362 and 14856 be consolidated to reduce the number of ensuing filings that could be requested, the number of ultimate proceedings that could come forth with it, and ultimately reduce down the overall scope that is required from you, the town folk, and get that down to an overall simplistic level. We wanted to understand a little bit of clarification on the decommissioning responsibility, and we wanted to let everyone know that we may be responsible for some, all, or none of the overall relicensing. We also wanted to understand whether or not interventions would be allowed, and we did not think this should happen at an early basis as is. About 20 minutes ago, that was confirmed from FERC that interventions are not allowed at this basis, so that at least we feel good about. We also requested that the dumping of documents be prohibited. We don't want filings to be dumped onto us without understanding of how they fit in and how they're going to adequately address the needs of the stakeholders involved. For our overall redevelopment strategy, as I mentioned earlier, we look to relicense some, all, or a portion of the facilities. We're looking to rebalance the needs of the town. We're looking to rebalance the needs of the state, federal agencies, stakeholders, KLPD, and FERC. We are trying to understand a little bit of clarity on the relicensing, how we can move forward with the relicensing, and how we can help town holders, the town members, and stakeholders push forward with the license, and how we can ultimately take these dams and bring them into the next 20, 30, 40 years. We believe that as that clarity is achieved, we can invest in the facilities, we can refurbish the turbines, we can bring these turbines back to where they need to be. We can ultimately help the town generate electricity, we can help the town retain property value, and we can help the town move forward as it should go with the facilities. As we've looked at the project, we believe there exists tremendous potential to increase the productivity that exists in the projects right now. As I said, invest a little bit of money into the rehab of the facilities, invest a little bit of money, a little bit of time, a little bit of engineering, we can make a tremendous difference overall. Part of what we're going to be able to do is we're going to be able to rely on what we have existing right now. As I mentioned, I own and operate a number of facilities. Paul has a number of resources as well between various engineering groups, between various operational expertise. We can quickly pull together a group of people that we can help push this forward and push this process through, where we can help the town, help the stakeholders, and move everything as we need be. The overall redevelopment benefits, we believe that there are a number of redevelopment benefits of which we can get into as need be, but the take-home message is redevelop the dams, increase the production, make a better benefit for everybody involved. Thank you.
Section 4.2 of the scoping document, specifically pages 12 to 13, includes a preliminary list of issues that we've identified from a review of the pad for analysis in our NEPA document. This list of issues is not meant to be exhaustive or final, and we're interested in hearing from you as a group whether or not this list needs to be modified in some way. Maybe we left off some issues, or maybe new issues need to be added. So we're really interested in getting your feedback on this list of issues, and this is one of our main purpose for this meeting. Broadly speaking, we'll be looking at aquatic resources, terrestrial resources, threatened and endangered species, recreation, land use and aesthetics, cultural resources, and developmental analysis. I'm going to do something a little different than what I did this morning. I'm going to go through the bullet list for each of these categories, and then we can discuss any questions or comments you have on those bullets as we go through all these categories. So the first category for resource issues is under aquatic resources, and from our document, pages 12 to 13, we're proposing to look at the effects of the continued project operation on dissolved oxygen and water temperature in the Mousam River, effects of continued project operation on aquatic habitat for resident and migratory fish and aquatic macroinvertebrates. And finally, we're looking at the effects of continued project operation on migratory fish passage at the 3 dams that makes up the project. Are there any questions about this list of issues that the audience has at this moment? Yes, sir. Please state your name and affiliation for the court reporter, just like we did today.
Peter Ashley. This has to do with the fish passage. At times when people look at that particular area, they come up with straight things like boards, steel beams, etc., poured concrete, all of that kind of stuff. Are you folks intimately aware and have you visited the Damariscotta fish ladder in Damariscotta, Maine, which is made of natural Maine stone, cemented together a little bit, nice little pools to jump for other fish to go one at a time as they feel energetic enough. It's worked for over 100 years, I believe. And there is a DVD at the library, so I imagine you could get a DVD about it as well. It's if you're talking about one dam, and I think that's about all you can talk about at the moment. When you read the Alden report and discover that their optimistic view is to trap and truck until they find out what's going on with the fish, because it's far cheaper than spending all the money building a fish ladder. But if you do get around to building a fish ladder, I suggest on the west side of Kesslen, and it'll be available through binoculars by all the visitors to the town, and maybe even a little scenic walk beside it.
Thank you. Yes, sir.